Hey,
Good evening and welcome to Generation
there you
Movie.
are.
Here I am. Welcome to Generation Movie on a Monday night. My name is J.W. Colwell, and Rich and I are kind of exhausted. And I don't know why, because I'm still recuperating from the trip last week, but it was great. I got to see Rich.
Yeah,
I
baby.
got to see we
had some
had Panera Bread. I saw some other friends, saw Natasha. And then went to see Naked Gun. Had a blast. We're going to talk about that tonight because we're going to wrap up the entire franchise. But welcome to Generation Movie. My good friend and co-host Rich Drees is here with us as usual on a Monday night. And this book, Rich, that I was just reading, this basic notepad holds the key to the rest of 2025 for us. Because I went through.
Does it involve riches and games and I don't know.
No. It involves. I will say it involves us having a school fest, back to school, starting in September.
I like that.
It involves us talking about one of the most influential movies in the history of movies next week.
Howard the Duck?
No. Fuck that.
Oh, second most influential.
Second most influential movie. But we have a nice little thing. We have our annual Halloween festival, which I like because it's got a really eclectic mix. We got a vampire movie you can try to guess. We got a werewolf movie. We have a zombie movie, and then we have a transsexual movie. And then November, we're not going to do any Thanksgiving because, frankly, we're out. So we're out of Thanksgiving movies. So I went back and did some movies that are celebrating some big anniversaries that both you and I like. That is kind of like, it's like an action, rough and tumble action November that I think is going to be fun as well. And then that'll lead into our December. And we have, as always, Natasha helping us pick there and, trying to make her happy about Christmas movies because she's an expert is hard, but we'll make it work. And anyway, it's been a good run with the Zaz movies. And up until this week, it was a great
this week. That is,
it was a great run. Let's see. Let's get a comment. Hold on. Okay. Hello, Joe Ridgely. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Joe
Ridgely. Thank you again, Joe, for that favor you did for me this weekend.
We appreciate the favor.
Good. Joe is really good at corpse disposal, and that's really all I'm going to say. I mean, you're in Florida, lots of swampland.
Yes, we have
side of the skiff.
We have alligators. We have Alcatraz. We have alligator Alcatraz. It's fun.
Awesome.
Jesus Christ,
you're the man.
Darkest fucking timeline. Did you guys ever do Alice's Diner after postponing for a while back? No, we never went back. We don't look back. We don't look back. We only look forward. And it got canceled. I think I was sick or you were sick. One of us was sick. And it just we never did Alice's Diner.
We need to put that back on the list, though.
Maybe we could put it back on the list, but I don't know. I really like our list. Anyway.
I do too. I mean, maybe next year we can have that for next year, then. I mean, we got to start looking towards.
We already got to start looking towards 2026. Because actually that book contains the rest of
meeting, everybody.
Yeah. No, so we did not do Alice's Diner. Let's talk some news. Big news has to be a horror film exceeding all expectations. Would you?
Both films that came out this past weekend were only slated to do about 25 million, and they both exceeded their expectations, which makes me happy.
Yeah, and I think it's a real first off, it's a testament to the two movies. The two movies are really good. One is generational good, and then the other is a wonderful nostalgia bomb that kind of just exploded and happened, which is this one, right? The idea that Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis have found each other again, and they've released a movie that maybe isn't particularly aimed at you and I, but was a big movie for young ladies that grew up in the 90s and was like one of the 90s favorites. Freak Your Friday.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was gonna say, I think Lindsay Lohan is a pretty good actress when she is clear of any
shit together.
Problems and demons. Yeah. So I'm happy that this is like a good comeback for her. I'm hoping this is the first, in a series of steps back to a good career of entertaining. Because honestly, Mean Girls is a really good movie. It's better than it has any right to be, I think. Obviously the adult stuff with Tim Meadows
and Tina Fey. Tina Fey in the background of that is
gonna be great.
But she's really good in it. All the women, all the young women. All the young women in that movie have gone on to do other things, like have gone on to bigger stardom, or adult stardom. The other movie that hit big, because horror movies sell, Rich, is Weapons. But what I would say is, it's not just that horror movies sell, right? Because horror movies can just sell, but when you craft amazingly well designed horror puzzles that Zach Cregger, this director, who's starting to he's already noticed. I mean, the audiences already know him. Like most of the people that I saw Weapons with twice this weekend, because I went twice. The interesting thing was the second time I saw it, I didn't go because I wanted to see the movie again so much as, do you ever just go to a movie just to have the reactions around you? Just to see how people react and how this audience is going to react to it?
Absolutely perfect example of that. I went and saw South Park Bigger, Longer, Uncut Friday it opened. 7:00 screening, somewhere in there, and everybody's kind of sitting along, and we've talked about it, I think, a little bit on the show here, and everybody's going along. Oh, it's kind of like a big, it's just a regular episode of South Park. Oh, they're sneaking into the movies, and oh my God, there's a song called Uncle Fucker, and that's where people lose it because they were so taken aback by that song. Just that it was like the first 8 minutes of the movie lulls you into this false sense of security, and then they slam you with that. Well, and I went back to the movies 2 more times that weekend just to watch people's reactions.
Well, so this movie, the other thing about it is we are in a grand time for, first off, we've had 2 original horror films from Warner Brothers this year. I'm not going to give any credit to Zaslav, but I am going to give credit to the execs that have found these people and given Ryan Coogler money is not hard, right? That's not a hard proposition. Sinners is one of the best movies of the year, but Weapons is Zach Cregger, who did Barbarian, which is one of my favorite movies the last 5 years. Just, he knows how to get you going, and he knows how to prime the pump, and then when he just releases everything, it's got a lot going on. Is it an allegory for a child shooting? Is it, 17 people go missing, 17 kids in one elementary school class go missing at 2:17 in the morning on the same night? And it's an allegory, but it's also like a fable. And then Rich, it pulls all kinds of Magnolia, Pulp Fiction shit. Because
I have not seen it yet. I was busy doing an editing project that literally took me up until about 5 o'clock on Sunday to finish.
It pulls shit
I haven't. Yeah,
it pulls shit that genre movies don't normally do, right? Okay. So it follows the events, same events, maybe similar events from 6 different perspectives. It's kind of like genius level horror filmmaking. It's simplistic, but it's also like getting there is half the fun.
I mean, everybody seems to be very happy about this film's success. 40 million, 15 million over expectations.
43, actually. I was looking at the...
Okay,
43. 43. It beat Freak Your Friday by 28, by $50 million.
You know who's not happy about this? And he probably hasn't been happy for a while? Jordan Peele. Exactly.
Jordan Peele.
His company, Monkey Paw, was trying to get this movie, and he got outbid.
Fired his agent.
He fired his agent over this. He was so pissed.
Yeah, I told that story at the theater on Saturday night. and people were in shock. I'm like, yeah, he wanted to produce it in the worst possible way, and now Kreger is like. I also met somebody like this person, like I always remember that that scene in Tootsie where Bill Murray's like, I just want people, I don't want a full audience. I just want an audience that's like come in from the rain and they don't know what's happening. I met a guy who was talking to me about it, and he's like, I haven't seen Barbarian. And I'm like, you're just going to this because just don't know. Okay, that's cool. I'm like, you should see Barbarian though, because you'll understand where it's coming from. But the other thing about it is really great performances in these horror films this year. Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, Julia Garner, Josh Brolin. These performances are really magnificent, and it's and like, I can't get enough of this movie. I love this director. They've made the smartest decision possible. At Sony is producing his next movie, Rich. He is taking over the reins of the Resident Evil franchise. And he said, we're not going to do anything from the game, which for Resident Evil fans is a little bit like, okay, but he's like, I'm going to do a movie in the vein of the game, but not the game. And so he's like, I don't need to hear about Leon or Claire. And it's so, but it's like, yes, give this guy money. Let him make his movies.
After that, he has a science fiction film he wants to make, which one commentator I know of who has actually read the script for it says is amazing, and they really hope he can make it. And then he also has a script that he wrote on spec. I don't know if he's had discussions with. Well, I guess
he's really good.
Yeah, I don't know if he's had discussions with Peter Safran and James Gunn about it, but he has a DCU script he'd like to make. It's called Henchman.
Right. It's just about a bunch of people that work in Gotham for the various villains.
A guy who works for the Joker accidentally captures Batman, and it goes from there. Is what I understand the log.
Well, and this is the other thing I was talking about. That's kind of interesting, from perspective. The two best, and Coogler is an amazing filmmaker. I don't consider him a horror movie filmmaker, but Zach Kreger and Jordan Peele are the two guys right now that are in Hollywood that if you tell me they're making a horror movie or a genre movie of any kind, I'm their opening night, right? The interesting thing is he came from The Whitest Kids You Know, and Jordan Peele came from Key and Peele. So the idea that comedy and horror are so clearly and extensively meshed is what's important. And the idea that you can have chuckling to release the tension in a horror film because you're like, holy fuck, what is happening? And that's the fun of, you got to see it with a big audience, got to see it with good sound, big screen. I've seen it in IMAX twice. And it's just, it is so expertly well done. And there's so many times where the audience is just going, what the fuck? And everybody's saying what the fuck together. And everybody's talking. There was one guy in the screening on Saturday, he was mumbling to himself, and he just kept on like, he didn't mean to. He was like, oh, don't do that. Like, and and then I told one of my favorite things I always say about horror films is we revel at the people making bad decisions. Horror films don't turn the light on. Don't notice the 6-foot-tall dead guy in the corner. They had bad decisions. Make bad decisions, people. But you would make a very good decision to go see Weapons. It's one of the best movies of the year. I'm would not be
this weekend.
I would not be shocked
this week though.
If we have 2 horror films nominated for best screenplay, Rich. That
would be pretty cool.
That would be amazing. That would be incredible. Now, the idea that they're both from Warner Brothers is what scares me. But
think the studio is going to play play favorites one over the other when it comes. I think if you're Warner Brothers, you run hard behind Sinners, and you. Yeah. But I don't think this film is far behind. Does that make there are allegories in both? Makes sense. It's like I wouldn't. I'd like to see them both get nominated for screenplay because they're the 2 best original things I've seen this year. Do you know what I mean? Like just in a context of originality.
But Freaky Friday did well. That was 28. Another weekend of what's going on with the MCU. Fantastic Four dropped 59%, another 60%, so it's down to 15 million. It's only at 230.
Not good.
That's not good at all.
Disney is Disney and Marvel, I think, are really gonna have to work hard over this next year and some months until next year until we get Spider-Man. But that's more of a Sony prospect. And then so all the way to next Christmas for Doomsday to really train people to realize that they should want to go back to theaters to see these movies, because Doomsday and Secret Wars can't do this kind of numbers. Cannot.
That's
disastrous.
That's the other side of it, is either you figure out what's wrong and you come up with, like, you release less of them or whatever we're going to do, or you find a way to make them cost effective, which you can't do with a sprawling cast like Doomsday and Secret Wars. Nor can you do with a cast
Robert Downey Jr. new cast.
Nor can you do it with Spider-Man, which is kind of like already out of control with the cast members. So I don't know.
Well, we've
talked about this
before. That Feige, it works for him doing we just start shooting and hope the script comes together, and we'll keep piecing it together as we go, and we'll find the story during production. It works most of the time.
The problem
when he can devote enough attention to the project, it's just so damned expensive.
And the problem that I think you and I both know that's under the surface is, it would be one thing if this was a disappointing movie. It would be one thing if it wasn't good, but it's good. That's the other problem, and the other real big problem.
If this was Thor: The Dark World, we'd be like,
but the other big problem on the horizon for them is Superman has done its job. Whether it makes the amount of money that some fictional person in the world thinks it needs to make, Superman has done checked all the boxes it needed to do to get the bitter taste of the old Snyderverse out of everybody's mouths and out into the world. And
now we have
set the table. Now there's actual competition.
Which review embargoes go up on the 19th.
Have you already seen it? I hate you sometimes. I absolutely hate you.
All I'm gonna say is there will be a rating on this that parents should pay attention to.
Well, if you're not watching the first season.
There's been some scuttlebutt about it a little bit on some social media. I've seen some people are saying certain things, and I'm just like, that is outright wrong, but I can't really respond.
The other thing that they also have to take into account, Superman has outgrossed Jurassic World Rebirth domestically. This is a big deal. It's also on par to be the highest grossing comic book movie of the year domestically. Now, internationally, we have all kinds of problems, only because, and this is a true statement at this point, our country is not as popular as Superman should be.
No.
As where we're at. So, my other side on that is, Superman has been the palate cleanser that we all needed. It's a good movie. It's well done. It's a hit. Stop calling it a bomb. Stop saying it needed to gross $600 million. It didn't even outgross a movie from 15 years ago. That movie 15 years ago put such a bitter taste in people's mouths that it carried over. And the only reason Batman versus Superman is higher ranked box office wise, it had Batman in the title. That's it. That's the list.
And the entire movie-going landscape was entirely different. And for anybody,
the COVID and anything,
one data point that they can manipulate and ignore the entire rest of that context, they are not serious people, and you should not take them seriously. Honestly,
I know, but I have so much fun not taking them seriously. Anyway, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. They told me they fixed it. Sinners or Weapons. Joe, this is like Sophie's Choice. I like them both, which is I'm going to say Sinners, but what I would say to you is Weapons is not far behind for me. Like, Weapons has so much good stuff in it. It's not as brilliant as Sinners or generationally opulent as Sinners, but it's got a lot of good shit in it. It's got a lot of good stuff and stuff that nobody can talk about until we get past the spoiler period. And there's a performance from an elderly actress that has not been. She's fantastic. Like, ugh. Good evening, Ken McKernan. I hope you're well.
Hey, good evening, Ken. How you doing, buddy?
Do we know if Red Sonja is going VOD or will it be in a theater first? It's going VOD.
I thought it was getting like a one-day release or something.
I don't know. I'm hearing only VOD. The other big question is what's going on with the.
Oh my God! They made a new Red Sonja movie.
That's one of them, but the other one going on is the new Spike Lee movie that somehow is, there's a Denzel Washington Spike Lee movie that's supposed to be opening, and nobody, like, there was a trailer that dropped like 2 weeks ago. There was like just a weird shit going on with this movie, Highest to Lowest.
Isn't it going right to Netflix? I know that there was I know I had a screening invite.
Okay, so release dates I have is August 15th. And then it will be on Apple TV. Right, August 15th, but you can't buy tickets for it. And then September 5th on Apple TV. But the idea that we have a Spike Lee, Denzel Washington movie that's based on a Akira Kurosawa movie, and we don't have anything. We barely have a trailer or poster or ticket chances or anything.
Because it's Apple and it's not going through Warner's, I don't believe. This could very well be just a case of like, we've got this movie. It might have some awards chances, so let's give it the obligatory release before we drop it onto our
in New York and LA. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it is going to be screening in like Philly as well. Probably a lot of the major cities. I don't know how many screens this thing is getting. Again, there's a couple of things that are opening Friday that I can't, that don't have tickets open and available.
But listen to this cat. Listen to this
outside
cast.
of things they think are going to be big.
Yeah, Denzel, Jeffrey Wright, A$AP Rocky, Dean Winters, like Wendell Pierce, like it's. I don't know, Rich. I don't understand. I don't understand the concept of making a Spike Lee Denzel Washington movie. It's like we're talking about. It's like we're talking about at the theater. You have an Eddie Murphy movie that premiered on Prime this week. It's okay. It's not great, but it's also a movie that could have opened to $40 million on it, standing on its head, just because Eddie was in it. And so I don't understand.
That's why I thought it was ridiculous that they put Beverly Hills Cop 4, straight to Netflix.
That's a $50 million opening. 60.
It was, and I was lucky enough to see it at a theatrical critic screening, and the place was packed because everybody was like, "Well, we're never going to see this on a big screen again," and we all had a good time. It's not great. It's not the best. It's certainly not Beverly Hills Cop 3, thank God, and but it was a lot of fun. Had a good time with it.
Yeah,
and that's I think what people want when they go to the movies. They don't want it to be the best, but at least let's have some fun. We're going out.
He's one of the more bankable stars still. Vibrant. He's a vibrant star still. Like I don't know. So we will announce what movie we're watching next week and what we're doing next week. But I do want to give some ideas of what's happening the next couple weeks. 25th and the 1st, we're going to be off, I think. Just to give you and I a break, and also just to kind of.
I mean,
fucking hate you too, Rich. We saw each other in person. Now it's like it's off. The 25th and the 1st, we're going to. 21st and 1st, we're going to take off, but then we're going to go straight through the next 3 months until we hit our big break in December. So you miss us for 2 weeks, and then we're going to have a cool school thing, and then we're going to have our horror movie. So it should be fun, but we're going to take some time off in the next couple weeks. The reason I'm taking the 25th off, Rich, is because I will be in Adobe Theater at 7 watching this.
Oh, nice.
And then I will be in Adobe Theater at 10 watching this.
Nice.
So, yeah,
Nice.
Adobe is doing, this is one of the big stories of the year right now. Well, not year, but just it's sold out already. So Tim Burton's Batman films are coming back for one night only in Dolby, 160 Dolby cinemas at AMC theaters across the U.S. Marks the first time both films will be presented in Dolby and Dolby Atmos.
I might have to schlep to Allentown for that.
Yeah, you better check tickets.
Yeah, I know.
Our screenings are packed. The enhanced presentation promises Burton's vision to be unprecedented clarity. Burton has had a chance to oversee the overhaul or the whatever. So the black, sharp contrast, vivid colors, better sound. So I saw that and I was like, I got it. And the one I've seen Batman a ton of times recently in theaters. The one I haven't seen in theaters in a while is this one. So when you're telling me both of them are going to play on the same night back to back, the answer is
that's a hell of
yes.
a double feature. Yeah, I know.
The answer is a wholehearted yes. It's not even like so that's.
I am excited that it seems like we're having a lot of anniversary thing revivals, things like that.
Yeah.
My God, it's been what is it 10 or 20 years? I can't remember. But Aronofsky's Black Swan, 10 years, is having a re-release in theaters in a couple of weekends. This Wednesday, I'm going to see Shin Godzilla with a buddy. That's opening up for a full week. I was like,
4K,
really?
yeah.
They're bringing Shin Godzilla back, which is, I kind of forgot how I felt about it. And then I went back and looked at our Filmbuff review. I was kind of like lukewarm on it. But I'm hoping that, and I don't think I've watched it since.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping, at least watching it again, will be an interesting experience and figure out what's going on.
Lukewarm, did you say? Lukewarm? Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. That's a perfect jump into the Naked Gun 33 1/3, the final insult.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're finishing up and concluding. We're going to talk a little bit about Naked Gun 33 1/3. We're going to talk a little bit about Liam Neeson's Naked Gun, which has been well received and is doing pretty well considering the current, just everything's kind of on top of each other in August here. But it is doing well. It's outperformed this movie at the box office. But let's talk about production and let's talk about where things have gone horribly, horribly wrong. Okay, so both of us made this admission to each other in the green room. I have not seen this movie in 20 years.
Ditto. I had forgotten.
30 years. Actually, 30 years because it came out in 94.
I think I've forgotten just about everything from this movie. And
I think
even seeing it with fresh eyes did not help it feel any less stale than it felt.
And I think part of it, we're going to have, you and I are going to talk about this, but I had a real sinking feeling as I was watching it, Rich, and we're going to talk about the production in a second, but I had a sinking feeling that this is where it all starts for all those horrible, not scary movie, untitled teen movie or teen drama movie or whatever, disaster movie or superhero movie. This is where it all starts. And there's still a crumb of credibility because Leslie Nielsen and Priscilla Presley and everybody is still in, right?
Yes.
But this is where it starts, that trend of don't do the hard jokes, just do the easy ones. And it starts
we're
because
repeating jokes again, like the cigarette joke.
Right, we're repeating jokes. It's filmed on location in LA, which, is all cool and all. And, people think they're special because they go to LA and, oh, I didn't get that picture up yet. Oh, no, I did. There it is. They think they're Statesville, It's filmed on location. And so it's one of those things where
I went by Statesville Prison, okay?
Yeah, no, I got you.
Yeah.
I think the big thing is that this is the first film where David Zucker isn't directing. It's Peter Segal. right? No relation to Steven. And he's okay. You know, but he's also like somebody that, you know, he's like his list of movies after this one, he gets a good bump out of this. He gets Tommy Boy out of this. He gets My Fellow Americans. He gets Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps, depending on how you feel. Anger Management.
But before this, though, you know, he still has, he did like, you know, he came out of Naked Gun 2.5, and, you know, some okay stuff here and there, and then suddenly he's doing Surf Ninjas, for goodness sakes. And then Leslie Nielsen's Bad Golf Made Easier, which is him. I felt like stuff like that just started to feel like he was cashing in on his goofy persona. I mean,
yeah,
he pull himself up out of the dredges of some of this stuff with something like Spy Hard, I seem to recall as being okay. But Dracula Dead and Loving It with Mel Brooks, my God, and it still was like.
Well, this guy Peter Segal catapults this into Tommy Boy, My Fellow Americans, Nutty Professor 2, Anger Management, 51st Dates, Longest Yard with Sandler, so he does some Sandler stuff, Get Smart, and then he does Grudge Match, Second Act, which is the Jennifer Lopez comedy, and then he does My Spy with Batista. So he's made a career out of it, don't get me wrong, but this is the first one where David Zucker isn't directing, right? He receives credit for the writing of the screenplay. Abrams and Zucker they have no credit to the screenplay. They're both executive producers.
This might be a case where they probably maybe threw a couple of jokes, said, "Oh, hey, maybe do this here," or "Here's a good topper for this." But yeah, you can, you know, the magic is not there.
The magic is not there, and also the how do I like? It's just there's something off. It just feels off. Although I will say, I think the opening sequence is spectacular. It is one of those things that you and I are talking about, where it dates the movie. It's ripped directly from another movie. You know what I mean? Like everything becomes, how are we going to lampoon the movies as opposed to lampooning the genre, right? So the opening sequence is a really cool, Battleship Potemkin, Untouchables kind of homage, where babies it's extremely well done.
When you're doing something with that many moving parts in that kind of a confined location and everything, that's a real bitch to shoot and edit. And I think, especially when you're adding gags and jokes in as well, I think it's an exceptionally well crafted bit.
But then what I think is interesting about it, they pull the plug. When they pull the plug, Frank wakes up and it's not a real sequence. And I was thinking to myself, why isn't it a real sequence? Why the fuck are we having Frank Drebin dream about shit when we've seen him do ridiculous shit in other movies? So like right off the bat, like it's a weird, like we want to make sure you get the jokes, but we also don't want to do anything that's going to upset you. Right. And, it's one of those things. And, the writers here are Pat Proft and Robert LoCash gets a screenplay credit, and David Zucker gets a credit. And like, you get the idea that they threw jokes in, but they didn't do anything. Well, it's a far ranging thing where they're not doing jokes that are based on concepts. They're doing jokes based on specific parodies of specific movies, which is a downfall for this movie.
Let me ask you this. Is the better joke, and I know what my answer is the better joke when OJ is catching the babies, him almost spiking the baby and having the mom run in and grab the baby, or him actually spiking a baby? What's the better joke? Actually
spiking the baby.
Okay, same here. And I know we probably sound like
that's horrible. Bastards. We sound horrible,
and we are horrible sick bastards.
But in the confines of a Naked Gun movie, Rich, we saw a movie last week that had a snowman running around with a gun.
The baby hit the ground; it just drops below the frame, and you know what happens. And that's just enough to go, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. As opposed to, And the lady stole her baby back from
the
OJ.
lady stole her baby back. Also, like the idea
Because we
that
were at
it's
a point where OJ, as a football star, turned somewhat of a comedic actor, and also soon to be stabby.
really soon to be stabby.
Yeah,
I looked it up. You realize and then we'll talk about this as we get on. Everybody's back.
Might be why I've never watched it since this came out. Even
that's possible. The Bronco chase took place on June 17th. This movie got released. This movie got released on March 18th.
Worst.
So in between that
worst
and
promotional gimmick ever, Paramount.
But that's part of the problem, right?
Yeah, it's easy. It takes the soft way out. It doesn't have the guts to go for the harder joke.
Right, and it also, like, the idea that Frank Drebin is dreaming this, it completely took me out of it. And I was thinking to myself, we've seen Frank Drebin fight all the bad guys in Baghdad. We've seen, like, the first two openings are big openings. And it's supposed to establish him, but they're trying to do like this weird thing where he's having, sexual problems at home, and he's a house husband. I think it gets back to the screenplay. Like the script knows what it wants to be, but it doesn't have the guts. It just doesn't. It
needs a good story to build the jokes onto, and have the jokes, be part of and come out organically. And the story itself just isn't good. No one wants to see Frank Drebin, as a house husband having to, if this was done straight, people would be screaming that this movie is propaganda, that, you can only be a man if you're a cop. And, that's the only way to retain your virility is to go back onto the
hashtag propaganda.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think what I think that hit me about, first off, I love the Untouchable sequence. I love how it's a, Battletech Potemkin. It's something you can bring out of parties. A lot about the Odessa steps. Fantastic. Mm-hmm. It's a really well shot sequence. And then it becomes one of those things where once they don't go through with it, and once they make it a dream, and then it's like nobody wants to see this character down and out. The whole point of this character is that he's up and in your face. Mm-hmm. So it's a weird,
he's the best cop, and he's also
ever.
That's the purpose of this character.
That's the gig. Yeah. And so they saddle him down, and then again the screenplay kind of saddles everybody down with this Priscilla Presley gets this weird thing where they're doing a riff on Thelma and Louise, which is
which makes no sense.
It's completely
even comedically makes no sense.
It's just weird, and it's and then the thing we have to talk about with production, somebody offers somebody a role, and one person turns it down, and the person that turns it down is Pamela Anderson, who we now know can act in a Naked Gun movie. Mm-hmm. But Pamela Anderson turns it down because of scheduling conflicts, and we get Anna Nicole Smith. Now,
she's fine.
I don't like to speak ill of the dead, but she's in over her head, and it's and then it's a really bad trans joke.
Okay. The trans joke was I actually oofed at that. I was like, oh,
I forgot about it. I had completely forgotten about it. Mm-hmm. And when it happened, I was like, oh. And then and also Leslie Nielsen's reaction, Frank Drebin's reaction to it, spending 3 minutes thrown up in various places, including a tuba.
And the tuba player is the producer of the movie.
Deserved.
Yeah.
Also, I want to see Sawdust and Mildew. You cannot believe. Sawdust and Mildew. I desperately. But like I said, I think.
But let me just give Anna Nicole Smith some props here. She's not great, but she's good enough to be that level of actress that the movie needs her to be. Because if you're spoofing these old pop shows and stuff like that, a lot of those supporting characters and a lot of the women who came through these things, and guy actors too, were not great. They were just jobbing little B actors, studio contract players sometimes, and
Yeah,
she was just the right amount of bad that.
But the idea, I
the
think,
script and the play and the screenplay actually called for.
It
doesn't distract for me it just doesn't distract
no
for me.
No, but
movie.
when I was doing the research,
appreciate it a little bit.
When I was researching, I was sad that it was Pamela Anderson. I'm like, but then happy because she's really good in the new one.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of chemistry. There's a lot of chemistry with her and Liam Neeson. She wouldn't have gotten a chance.
Would she have? Yeah, would they have brought her back to play a new character? Probably not. And then, who do you go to then?
I have no fucking clue.
Exactly.
All I know is the production. Like, the direction's only okay. It feels like Zucker isn't there to save things when they go careening off the rails. Mm-hmm. And the script is, and I say this with all due respect, it's not as good as the other two movies. So the problem becomes, it becomes just a parody, it becomes like a parody of itself when they're parodying only movies or only things that, we're going to talk about this later, but this was a Vanity Fair thing that was very important. And then this is the parody. And so this is the poster that came out, Do This March. The other thing that I was thinking about, Rich, is not like the Ghost trailer for part 2. It could always slide into broad parodies of specific movies, as opposed to a broad parody of a concept. And where I think the new one gets it is it's essentially the new Naked Gun, the one with Liam Neeson, gets the idea. The concept they're parodying is the Liam Neeson movie, so they get it, they understand it, and then they also have the jokes that they can not recycle, but just kind of try to make 2025.
And I think the story itself, the story specifics themselves are, I don't want to say generic enough, but they're broad enough that they don't play into a specific parody of
a movie,
Ghost,
right?
Or
yes,
or that. Yeah.
And it's weird.
So that's where I think that works maybe better than this.
Yeah, no, that's why it works. Box office, Rich. Okay. This is where the wheels come off, kids. So this movie, first off, I want to say that I think they knew what they had on their hands, that it was a third movie. First movie is released in December, right in the great December corridor where everybody's going to the movies, everybody's trying to have a good time. Mm-hmm. Second movie is released 7 days before July 4th. Big hit. Everybody knows what it is. This movie, Rich, is released on March. Let's see. It opens on March 14th, March 18th. Maybe for Easter. I don't know. Depending on what happened that year. But it opens in March, Rich. There is no chance for this movie to make a ton of money. There is, it opens first. It opens in 2361 theaters. It eventually gets to 2383 max. It averages about 5.2 weeks in theaters. It grosses $13 million in its opening weekend. $13.2 million. Now, it ends up grossing a total of $51 million. This is down from the other Naked Gun movies. This is so far down. Naked Gun: The Smell of Fear grossed 20 in its opening, 20.8. Right? It ends up with domestic box office of 86. Naked Gun grosses 16.8, so even Naked Gun beats it. Ends up grossing 32, worldwide 56. So it never, it doesn't beat the original. It pales in comparison to the second one. And then the interesting side note here is that the new one has grossed almost $78 million off of a $9.3 million opening. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm lying to you. The new one is at 56. Naked Gun from the Files Police Squad was at 78. So, the new one has just outgrossed the last one of the franchise. But it's a complete downward trend. And the problem, Rich, is that the budgets went up for each one of them. And this budget is $30 million. So, and then when you look at it, it's bad.
Yeah. I've got thoughts.
And
we'll get to it when we go into critical response. But
it's in a terrible place on the thing. Although if you do the adjusted for box office inflation adjusted amount, it's 141. So, it's $141 million, which would put it 10th at the box office this summer, which is crazy. But box office is not good, and I think people realize that what was happening. Let's get to critical response then and now, so we can dig in. So we use Rotten Tomatoes, good aggregate for us. It doesn't mean anything really. But this one is the first one where the audience doesn't like it. 54% popcorn meter with 100,000 ratings. Although reviews, about 66, including our good friend Roger Ebert, it's at 65. So it's the lowest of any of the Naked Gun movies. Mm-hmm. And it's the lowest by far of any of the Naked Gun movies, tomato meter wise, popcorn meter wise. But all of the other ones are at least at 65% or more from the audience. So this is the first time the audience says, no. No.
Thank you, we're good.
Thank you, we're done. And then you start digging around the reviews. Almost all of the reviews have some sort of concept to them where they say it feels recycled, it feels old, but I'm willing to give Leslie Nielsen, I should say, the benefit of the doubt, right? But it's also the end of an era, right? It's the first one they haven't produced. They didn't write, produce, and direct. It's the first, you know what I mean? It's a really big change, right? And I just think it's the 0 point of the virus that will infect Hollywood with, we just need to make fun of specific movies and not of the concept points in genre movies. Mm-hmm. I think it's patient zero. It started a little bit in 2, and then 3, it's all over the fucking place with, making fun of the Oscar movies, making fun of Jurassic Park with the geriatric park, making fun of Gandhi with fucking, the musical about Mother Teresa. It's all
I mean, there's
weird.
If Zaz basically had kept their creative thumb on this whole project, yes, we agree it could have definitely been better. But even stuff like those little movie clips, they should have been funnier. To me, it was there are some ideas that, you could have just resurrected or just riffed on from Kentucky Fried Movie. Because you guys are really good at those short form little parody things. And you could have done all sorts of remember they did the
lazy
the Towering Inferno riff.
Yeah.
One of my all-time favorite things ever, Fistful of Yen from Kentucky Fried Movie. They could have done stuff like that. And it feels like the Mother Teresa, the musical, is kind of reaching towards that, but it's just totally not getting it. It's not grasping it. And,
and the other thing is
the opportunity is there, and we just don't get it.
Yeah, it's the villain isn't good. The plot, the story, one of the Naked Gun prerequisites that has to happen is the plot has to be bigger than the world. It has to be a big, huge, amazing plot that Frank stumbles into.
To blow up, the Oscars.
They bring Pap Schmear back.
Yes, somehow Pap Schmear's returned.
Yes, Pap Schmear returns. Like it's like all the old jokes with recycled, but it's like you still have hope for it because Leslie Nielsen is hilarious. Like he's legit funny, and he's just getting it. Like he knows how to make a scene even funnier. There's a scene in the middle with the disco. That's where he has to talk jive for a second. Whereas, and he's trying real hard. And the thing is, the first two movies are effortless, right? The first two movies are effortless.
This one feels a little sweaty.
It feels it's struggling. It's like it's like a guy with a heart condition doing the stress test. You know what I mean? Like it's, and it just kind of like it peters out. Then it doesn't do any of the characters any service. So like usually in a third movie, if you're revisiting characters, usually we're getting them. They might have a problem, but it's not like this is the second time where they break up. So it's like it's a little bit like the first time they break up, but it's worse. And then she goes on like a Thelma and Louise adventure where that's fucking weird. And then, there's an extended joke about fertility clinic that it just fucking dies on the vine. It just rots there. It just sits there, and they give it about 10 minutes. It's a good 10 minutes of just how many times can Frank Drebin jerk off, and then go home to his ha 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 ha. Oh, he gets and it just keeps going, and so like. It's weird, like the stuff they nail, they don't fully nail because they pull back. Like they don't spike the baby, or they make it a dream. The stuff they think that's really funny isn't, like the fertility clinic stuff, which is, it's 10 minutes, and it's absolutely like, it's mind-numbingly not funny. Like Frank goes into a room, makes a bunch of noises, comes out, his glasses are disheveled, he's smoking a cigarette. Okay. Yuck. That's fine. But then he goes and he's trying to get the information he needs. They hit a bunch of things that date the movie, like Heidi Fleiss's celebrity dalliances and Joey Buttafuoco and all kinds of shit that dates the movie. And then somebody gives him another cup. Oh, we're gonna go back. Okay. Same thing. Except now they give him Major Hooters, a porno. And it's like, and then they do the clock thing 3 times, Rich. And I was like sitting there going, there's a reason I haven't watched this in 30 years. Like it's just not as good as the first two. And it's like, why would I ever get to it? Except for you and I to do a retrospective on a bunch of movies that we really like. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know that I'll ever watch it again. Like, it's just, if I want a Naked Gun movie, I'm going to go to the Neeson movie, or I'm going to go to the original with Leslie Nielsen, Enrico Palazzo. You know what I mean? Like, I never have to go to this. Then they do the Oscars thing.
For Phil Donahue.
Phil Donahue. It's like the most random.
It's lazy,
and it's
a weak attempt to recreate the Enrico Palazzo, energy, and it doesn't work. And honestly, this movie is still the second worst thing to ever happen at the Oscars. But
talking about Rob Lowe.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can plug in anything you want in there. Rob Lowe, Will Smith.
It's like a bad
Annie
Oscar
Hall
Rorschach.
Star Wars for best
it's like
picture.
E.T. losing to Gandhi. Raiders losing to Chariots of Fire. These are all bad. Shakespeare in Love beating fucking Saving Private Ryan. Anyway.
Good God.
Badness.
Yes.
But the interesting thing is, like, there are some game people in the Oscar sequences, like Pia Zadora is. God bless her. She's trying her damnedest. Raquel Welch appears to be having a blast. Also, James Earl Jones and Olympia Dukakis are having a good time. Like, everybody there that's in it is having a blast.
And I will say, the stage design with the moving stairwells coming out as they come down. I was kind of like that idea just for a regular Oscar. I was watching this going, they should actually do that at the Oscars.
They should do that at the Oscars. That's the word.
Cool.
Like,
I like it.
But that's the thing. Like, I think, for me, the other thing that kind of was setting in was, okay, we're making fun of specific movies. We're not making fun of the concepts that make the movies great, right? So the Thelma and Louise is like, she runs into somebody, she's going to hit somebody, she's going to kill them, she's going to go on the lam. Like, they're doing a prison movie, so they have a prison escape movie. So there's a whole Shawshank Redemption kind of thing, where we're going to put the dirt and all this other stuff. So it's like it's a series of things where it's better movies.
Hey, remember this and the other thing?
Hey, remember this and the thing you really liked? Mm-hmm. And that's like, for this type of film, it's death. It's absolute unmitigated disaster, because you're not making fun of the concepts where people can look at it and go, yeah, that is fucking strange that John McClane doesn't have shoes, right? You're making fun of specifically of Hans Gruber getting knocked off it just doesn't work. You need to make fun of the concepts of cop stuff. And I think, it's the first time where I feel bad for Leslie Nielsen. Like, I think Leslie Nielsen is a gifted actor, and I feel like he is struggling to make things funny. And he's doing his best. He's trying to do his best with subpar material. And of the three, it's the least of the four. It's the least watchable of the four by far. Like, not even close.
Yeah, it's miles away from Police Squad the series. And I would say go back and watch Police Squad if you really want to. It's only
if you want to discover something, right?
Episodes, boom, you're done with it. In an hour and a half.
But
I'm sorry, 2.5, 3, almost 2.5, 3 hours. Excuse me.
Legacy franchise viability. It has to be discussed. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. You want more?
And if you're really in a good Zucker-Abrahams-Zucker movie mood, and you felt kind of soured by this one, go back, rewatch Airplane, or on Thursday night on Turner Classic, or Thursday afternoon on Turner Classics at 4 p.m. Eastern. They're showing 0 Hour. So if you've never seen 0 Hour, the movie that
are they showing Airplane afterwards? Because that would be amazing.
No, they are not. It's part of this Summer Under the Stars, and I think it's Linda Darnell Day.
You're missing
like
it. You're missing it, TCM.
Yeah. No, they have shown it that way before. They have, which is insane to me. I love it. But if you've never seen 0 Hour, but you love Airplane, set your DVRs. Or just work from home for the day.
I'd like to see it. Rich is like, I'm taking off to do it. But I think I feel bad though that all I could think about was that this is Patient Zero. This is the one where they said, this Naked Gun movie did it this way, so we can do superhero movie like this, or we can do disaster movie like this, or we can. It's sad. It's bad.
Yeah. It's a fumbled attempt that people took the wrong lessons from.
Yes, that's what people want to laugh at. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, that's the other thing I want to say. There are funny. It is funny, but it's funny, but like it's going to see a comedian and you're promised new stuff and you get a regurgitated thing where it's like that was the set. HBO special 2 years ago. That was the set I saw 2 years ago. Yes, that's exactly how I felt. Franchise legacy viability. Now here's the thing: Peter Segal ends up having a nice career. Not gonna lie. But the legacy franchise is that we don't get this movie until 2025.
Not for lack of trying.
No.
Yeah, there was numerous attempts to kind of bring Naked Gun back. I've read one of the scripts, which wasn't that great. But they were.
Is this the one that was 4? Is this the TV one?
I think it might have been the TV. I can't remember. It was a while back that I read it. And I was just like, ugh. They always tried to bring in like a comedian. Like Steve Carell was attached to this at one point. And I'm like, Steve Carell is a great, funny actor, but he was definitely much better suited for a role that demanded a comedian like Get Smart than The Naked Gun. The Naked Gun only works when you have an actor, a serious, dramatic action, some type of actor who is playing against what he is normally known for. Everybody remembers Leslie Nielsen as this hilarious guy, but watch his entire oeuvre from before he did Airplane, and you'll see a guy who did a lot of serious stuff. He was a bad guy in Hawaii Five-0. He did, and
well, he was in Forbidden Planet, for fuck's sake.
Which is one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah,
but even the Zucker-Abrahams-ZUCKER guys couldn't get a fourth Naked Gun going, and they were the ones who were trying really hard.
Well, the one you're talking about is Alan Spencer, right? That's the guy who did Sledgehammer, right?
Yeah.
He had the weird one where he said he signed an agreement of some sort, and then basically they were like, "That's not real," and it was called The Rhythm of Evil, I think it is.
Might be. 4. I'd have to pull it up out of my script archive, which is on my laptop, which is the other side of the room. The Zucker guys had a script that they've since subsequently rewritten. Once this was starting to happen, they were kind of cut out of everything by the studio. It's kind of a Mission Impossible riff now, which I'd be interested in seeing. They have a script called The Star of Malta, which is kind of like a film noir, iteration of their comedy, and set in the 40s. And I'm just like, let these guys
cook. The Maltese Falcon, man.
Yeah,
The Star of Malta. Well, I think the interesting thing legacy-wise, again, for me, the bad legacy from this movie is that it creates the bad stuff. But the other thing about it is, it's one of those third movies where you're like, fuck, I really like the first two, and I want the third one to be just as good, and it's not. So then it falls into that legacy thing where it's like, third movies are hard to pull off, Rich. Beverly Hills Cop 3, Alien 3, this fucking movie. It's hard to pull it off. Return of the Jedi, which is the least favorite of the original trilogy. Third movies are hard. And so it falls into that legacy trap of too much of a good thing and then not enough of what got you to the game. Right?
Yeah.
And then Leslie Nielsen will go on to do, I was particularly interested in his shit later on that I thought was interesting. Leslie Nielsen ends up doing a ton of more fucking movie after this, where he's like, he coasts on these fumes the rest of his career, and some of them are okay. Some of them are like, oh, that's fun. Spy Hard is
a little sad. It's a little sad.
Well, it's a little sad in the sense that it's like, I was going through here. Listen, tell me where things go. So he did Harvey, right, which was interesting. He also did in '95. He did an Italian movie that was like a riff on Christ. So kind of like SPQR, which is only in Italy it was released. Rent a Kid, Mr. Willoughby's Christmas Tree, Dracula Dead and Loving It with It, which is a unmitigated failure. Harvey, Spy Hard, Family Plan. He did Mr. Magoo, which wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. Then he did Wrongfully Accused, right, where it's the fugitive riff. That's another bad one. He was in, and then he 2001: A Space Travesty. So he again goes back to the well. He's in Scary Movie 3 and Scary Movie 4. He's in Superhero Movie. He's in he does a movie called American Carol where he's Grandpa and Osama bin Nielsen. He does Stan Helsing.
Better left forgotten.
and then he does the Watermelon movie, which is unfinished. So he kind of just, he doesn't have anything else to do, so he gravitates towards these movies, and none of them are as good as Frank Drebin. Which is kind of a sad legacy. Like, it makes me sad that that's what happens, is that he creates this great character and then, you know, whatever. The other legacy that comes out of it is people love these movies. So we get a Naked Gun reboot where, you know, Liam Neeson is putting his shit on the line. And, you know, not her. Sorry, that was the wrong one. And then, you know, we get a series of jokes that are, you know, that are based on Liam Neeson movies, you know, and good solid jokes, good material that I found really funny. You and I laughed hysterically through this entire movie. I was, again, I cannot put into words, Rich. My favorite sequence in the entire fucking movie is the snowman stuff. I love it. I love it, and it has a weapons feel to it that... It's
great that it almost exists as like, you could take that out and just show people that small segment, you know, that 10-minute segment or whatever it is.
It's as good as the montage from the original. It's as good. It's for a 2025 audience.
I think it's better than the montage in the original, in that there's the original montage is just kind of like, oh, okay, this is them falling in love. And it's just an
laughing
excuse
at Platoon, and
this has a whole story arc all of its own. It has its own little mini 3-act structure.
It's a ridiculous 3-act structure.
Build, and you know, they have their own payoffs and everying. Yeah. Like I said, it's its own little short film. You could just pick up out of the movie and show something.
I fucking love it. I think it's my favorite part of the entire movie. And
as a short filmmaker, I'm kind of jealous of it, to be honest.
It's like, motherfucker, how'd you come up with that so quick?
Oh, you bastard.
But I think the legacy of the franchise, the legacy of the Zaz and the franchise, they created a whole generation of parody artists. Like, there is a reason Weird Al Yankovic is in all three of the originals and the new one, because, you know, they encouraged him. They also, like, he understood them probably better than any other artist, getting the jokes and understanding the jokes and being like, I just want to be in it. I don't care if I'm like just somebody that you're roughing up at the police station or whatever, or somebody steals my clothes at the Oscars, or I'm the guy that's singing at the Apocalypse bar. Evil billionaires, where are you? But yeah, I think the franchise, though, like the last one, I think it is probably going to warrant a sequel. It's doing well enough that they'll warrant a sequel, and like, I hope they stop at 2. That's my legacy statement for this. Just make 2. Don't try to make 3, because 3 is lightning in a bottle that is very hard to get right.
Yeah,
you know. That's about it. I'm happy we did this, though. This was a good little, a fun little jaunt.
I hadn't watched any of these in forever, and I probably would have watched them for the upcoming movie. Then again, maybe not, or I might have turned off 3.
No, but I think the interesting thing about our show is that you and I, as we're gliding through movie history in and out, that kind of like it meets in the middle of whatever's spikes our fancy. That happens to be like what's playing in a multiplex now, right? So, and that's interesting. Although next week, Rich, as we get ready, next week we're going to do an all-time classic that we have not done, and it's celebrating its 40th anniversary. And this is what we're doing. Get your picture ready. Boom. We are going back to the future, Richard.
Marty, you've got to go back.
You got to go back.
Hi, Doc. Kids assholes or something?
So
that's my entire Marty.
We're gonna do Back to the Future because celebrating 40. But I'm probably gonna end up watching all 3 this week just to kind of see how, like, because that is one of the rare ones where I don't think the third movie sucks. I think the third movie was misunderstood. they pull it off, but I don't think people were ready for it. And as we progress through time, people have understood it and realized that the second movie that everybody loved, isn't as good as the third one. You know what I mean? But I'm probably gonna do all three, but
only by incremental amounts. Because I think 2 is amazing for what it does in terms of
setting everything up, putting everything in place.
Story, to the point where they actually have to stop the movie and pull out a blackboard and explain the plot, and it still works. And we will get into that more next week, though.
We will also, because this particular franchise, we don't talk about it much. As a time travel, we talk about time travel movies here and there. We all have our favorites, whether it's Terminator or Back to the Future, or the play with the time travel. Time After Time for me is another one that. But the key to the Back to the Future franchise is that it nails the scientific time component of everything, and manages to explain time travel and essentially butterfly effect through time better than any other franchise. Even when people call bullshit on it, it's still like they have to do like a highfalutin, like, oh, this wouldn't work. But it has to be like super scientific. Has nothing to do with the quality of the films. So we're doing Back to the Future, Bob Zemeckis, produced by Steven Spielberg. In 1985, there was one movie that dominated the box office that summer. And I came home from Pennsylvania to my theater, my dad's theater in New York. And I watched Back to the Future at least 20 times in the theater because I was going every day. And my dad said, you can come back early because you got to see this movie. And I was like, I don't want to give it my summer. And he's like, trust me, you want to give up your summer. So I came home early from my grandparents' house. And I saw Back to the Future a cajillion times that summer. And because I was a Michael J. Fox fan, I watched Family Ties. I was obsessed with Michael J. Fox to like an unhealthy amount of Michael J. Fox love. And I still do. I still love him. I still think he's one of the great comedic actors that we have or had or whatever. So we're doing Back to the Future next week. Then we're taking 2 weeks off, and then we will be back. I will have news for you next week of our extended back to school series of films for September.
We'll give that to you at the end of next week, so you have to watch all of it.
Yeah, well, it's back to school. Like, it's back to school in the most wonderful ways. Mostly 80s, but actually all 80s, to be honest. But back to school, how about 80s with comedy drama, 80s with profound comedy, 80s with kind of cheesy comedy. That's one of my favorite movies and has probably the best boob shot in the history of film, next to Phoebe Cates and Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And then we're going to do a classic Spielberg movie that was the first computer-generated animation in the history of film. And now we're getting ready for AI stuff. Anyway, where can people find your stuff, Rich?
All of my writing can be found at filmbuffonline.com. I do a couple of other podcasts. One is the Big Picture podcast that I do with my very best friend, Natasha Bogutsky. She's been in the middle of rehearsals for a show that's going up this coming weekend. So hopefully when she's done
with legs, that, baby. Break legs.
We can get back into our groove. We've got a fun topic for our next show. We just got to find time to record it. The other podcast that I do is the Film Scribes, which is the official podcast of the Philadelphia Film Critics Circle, which I am a proud member of. And we just dropped another episode this past week. It's we take a look at myself and 4 other critics take a look at Superman, Fantastic Four, and the state of the superhero film genre in general. It's a fun conversation, and you can find that wherever you get your podcasts. I can be found on Filmbuff Online also has a Facebook page where you get all our latest stuff, and I can be found on the socials on Twitter and Blue Sky at FilmbuffRich.
So JW the Movie Guy on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, IMDb, all those places. You can find us on YouTube if you like the show. If you find the show, by all means, like us. Facebook page. We also have YouTube. Also, I do a little show with my I don't know why my thing's not working. That's wild.
Crazy, man.
No, what's happening? This is weird. All right. That is weird. Wild and wacky. Hold on. No, it's really not working. That is something. Hide panel, but let's bring it back. Let's try to. Nothing is. No, that's working. That worked fine, but I can't go up for some reason, which is weird. Let me just move that. Okay, I was gonna say we. No, we're gonna do it. Hold on, give me a second. I can't scroll up, but I do a great podcast with my good friends on Tuesday nights called Loud and Nerdy, and we have a very special guest.
You might not. I can't talk about this.
What?
Off mic.
Okay.
Just tune in tomorrow. You'll be surprised by whatever happens.
Okay. Thanks for joining us. Everybody have a great night. Stay safe.
I'm really sorry to throw you under a bus like that, my friend.
That's okay. No problem.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.